All right. Well, my name is Luke Edmonson, and I'm excited to be joined here today with Mr. Jerry Ghionis.
Hello.
Coming live from Las Vegas.
I can't see your face. It's just gone. I'm just looking at myself, which is a little bit weird.
Well, let me do something about that.
There we go.
Hello. Now that I think
Awesome,
about
man.
it, I'm not the voice that's coming from behind the curtain. So thank you for hopping on. We're talking a bit about the upcoming Little Red Schoolhouse for the DallasPPA.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, the dates for that are going to be August 10th and 11th, and I believe also even a part day on Sunday the 12th. And we're going to have excuse me, let me start that over. The dates for that are Friday night, the 9th, the
That's
10th,
right.
and the 11th. I got it wrong, man. Starting off strong here. And the early bird registration price until May 31st is going to be $249, and the regular price is going to be $299. So you definitely should take advantage of this. For somebody who has never heard of you before, Jerry, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a fashion portrait wedding photographer. I'm born and raised in Melbourne, Australia. I've been living in the US for the past 9 years. I still go to Australia like 2 months of every single year. I've been shooting for 25 years, teaching for 20 of those 25 years. And man, we just love what we do. I think, my purpose with my wife is to bring out the best in others, whether it's making brides look and feel beautiful, or whether it's actually giving people an understanding of light, or maybe, teaching people how to tell stories better, or actually helping people have a more balanced life. That's what we do. So that's our mission.
Sure. And when you're going to be doing your stuff with Little Red Schoolhouse, looks here like we're going to have lectures and demonstrations, shooting bays that people can go to after the lectures. That's going to be what's happening on the 10th. And on the 11th, it's going to be how to relax your clients and evoke emotion and value, mortality and legacy. So a bit more, I'm guessing, less about the nuts and bolts and more about some other important matters.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, the first day, the first evening, we actually, you and your dad and Melissa and I are going to be together, and we're going to have a bit of a discussion. And I think it's revolving around competition and different things, and discussing things beyond technique. But I feel it's probably going to go in the competition way, or any way that the audience wants us to go.
Sure, we're going to be open book for them, right?
Exactly, absolutely. And of course, we have incredible chemistry, personally and professionally, so I feel like that's going to be a really fun evening for us all because we have similar values in different ways. August the 10th, it's going to be about, it's funny because I call it luxurious light, but really it's going to be about luxurious shadows, because most people, I think most newcomers or even experienced photographers think it's all about the light, and I think it's actually quite the opposite. It's all about the shadows. So if I called it luxurious shadows, I think people would feel a little bit weird about it. What's going on with shadows? Well,
sure.
We're going to discuss, I guess, the subtlety, the nuances of the way I light. I personally, I don't really have one style of lighting that I gravitate towards. I'm a natural light photographer. I'm a strobist. I'm a speed light person. I'm going to basically show you that light is light, and I'm going to show you how light can be likened to water. And then once you liken it to water, you understand how to shape it better. So I'll be cutting out the book smart of this learning process of learning about light, and just cutting to the street smart.
Yep.
And we'll demonstrate that as well. And as you know, you've been to many of my gigs over the years, you'll know that I'm spontaneously, I might do an impromptu shoot. I might bring people up on stage, or I might just start shooting for the hell of it in front of all these people. But that should be really, really fun. And purposeful posing, because I think that, there's certain posing, I guess, ideals and systems that we all know. Like we talk about the S-curve, and we talk about complimenting and flattery and all that kind of thing. But what about being purposeful? What about posing our subjects in a way that means something and contributes something? So I'm all about flattery, but once we get over our own vanity, then we start to look for meaning. And I'm going to talk about posing in a way that does have meaning, and also the foundation of posing as well, of course, which many of us maybe haven't been taught or been taught correctly. And we'll be doing demonstrations, and also talking about posing challenging subjects, because I think many of us, we do demonstrations on, incredible models, and hey, we don't get incredible models every single week. We photograph normal people. I photograph normal people, mostly that have a little bit of extra weight they want to hide and soften. They may have one eye bigger than the other. They may have bigger ears. They might have a crooked nose. How the hell do you deal with those problems? Plus size groom, plus size bride. What if they're both plus size? What happens if you have a large forehead, and so on and so forth? There's just normal everyday issues that I think don't come up a lot in posing lectures these days. So we're going to give you practical demonstrations. And yeah, so it's going to be an incredible first day. The first day very much is going to be a full day of the holy grail of photography, which is the lighting and the posing, which those two words often go together. But we're going to go deeper than people have seen before, let alone seen from me before, because I've spoken several times over the years in Dallas, but it's been several years since I've done that, but this is going to be really cool.
Well, and let's even touch on that. I mean, it was, gosh, we were looking at some pictures together, and it was well over a decade ago that you first came through Dallas and our paths crossed.
Yeah.
But in particular, you've had a heart for the people of the Dallas Professional Photography Association. You've done full-day classes before. Then you've even come in to do an album presentation as just a regular speaker. And now you're coming back for Little Red Schoolhouse. So it's certainly a soft spot that you have for us that we are fortunate enough to have you in our favorite boroughs. So thank you for that, first and foremost.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, we were actually going to potentially live in Dallas. We were deciding between Dallas and Las Vegas after living in LA for like 7 years, and it was going to be those two paths. But we ended up going for Las Vegas. Some of our best friends and chosen family, as we call it, of course, as you know, live in Dallas as well. So yeah, definitely we love the area and love what's there and who's there.
Thank you. And then, of course, you talked about a bit the idea of posing people with purpose or with meaning. For those that haven't heard you before, but oftentimes you might even speak about shooting with empathy and what it is to see somebody through a loved one's eyes. And I think the freedom that comes with that I have found for myself, and perhaps this is part of your intention, is that it's a lot easier to not feel stuck when you're out on a situation, because you're no longer just following your set routine or perhaps a set system, but you're able to see things in new and different ways, which leaves you open to innovating. And I think that's one of the things you're known for.
It's funny because when people talk about posing, people think it's just a mechanical process. And yes, there's what I call the architecture of posing. Yes, this is going to make someone look slimmer. This is going to make someone look more curvaceous. This is going to make someone look more masculine, and so on. But I think that as I've matured as a person, as I've matured as an artist, I think it's inevitable that you just want more purpose. And and that's just to do with life. That's to do with any kind of industry. First you just want to make it. I just want to understand posing. Then you want to master. Then you want to master posing. But then you want to matter. And mattering is really, as you suggested under your breath there, is once you shoot through the eyes of a loved one, is you're able to see things in a different way. Like, you're not trying to remember pose 23. You're looking at that girl with that dress, with that hair, with that light, with that skin, with her grandmother, and the environment will tell you what to do every single time. So I think what I want to communicate above and beyond the foundation to posing is getting a bit more intricate and more sophisticated in how the environment will always tell me what to do. And I'm telling you, it took a while for me to just walk into a room and look at a person and not be stuck, but I want to give you a lot of the shortcuts that took me to get to where I am today, let alone it's a never-ending process of learning, right? So
sure,
yeah.
But you're cultivating people's ability to see. To see beyond a system, to see beyond a pose, and to start seeing, you talk about it in terms of architecture. I've heard you refer to it before. The question about, should I remodel or do I need to build from the ground up? And being able to decide quickly and efficiently what's the right way to go, and then how do you put somebody in the right headspace, which is also part of the art that you have, is when you talk about what you're going to do on the second day, is how do we speak to people in order to evoke things out of them that maybe if they're more restrained, and at the same time there's always that rare occasion where somebody's too excited and you got to use your voice to help bring them back, to try and get them into more subtle and nuanced types of expressions. So
yeah, no doubt. Look, the second day, it's funny, I think people will actually probably book for the first day and end up leaving knowing that the second day was the most important, because you can be technically proficient and you can be a genius artist But if you have no empathy and you have no, dare I say it, no soul, no depth to your personality, and you may, certainly everyone has depth, is whether you reveal it,
yes,
or whether your lack of experience and technique inhibits that coming out on a day that makes you feel comfortable, that makes people you're photographing feel comfortable. That's another story. So, the following day, certainly there's some tried and true techniques that I've used over the years that I've been teaching for a long time, and how to evoke emotion. How to relax people. I'm gonna be showing very specific examples and tell many stories and show you with video of how we get someone who's either young and inhibited, or just a simple teenager, and get the best out of them. How we get a connection between mother and daughter, and then how do we get a mother of 3 children under the age of 5 to just be herself and
sure,
be selfish for a few minutes to get the best out of her, and so on. So there's lots of stories and things that I've learned over the last several years that I haven't shared in Dallas, let alone a lot of places around the world, that I'm excited to share. And I've done a couple of these gigs in different locations in the last sort of several months, and I got to say it's. I've always said I want to make people laugh, I want to make people cry, and I want people hold their breath, whether it's when I teach or when I shoot, and that's certainly been the case in the past, several years, and that's what I want people to do. So we are going to laugh together, we are going to cry together, we're going to have some epiphanies together. And the cool thing is that 2 days, or even 2 days and an evening together, that's where you can really make change. Because if I have a 2-hour gig, I can do one topic and get a decent chunk into it, but 2 days building trust together and building relationships together with our audience. And what I do is I start off most seminars by asking questions. What are your biggest challenges that you're facing? And what I do is I weave other things into those seminars as extra value. So get ready, Dallas, that when I first say hello, I'm going to talk to you probably for half an hour, maybe even an hour, and get to know you, know the challenges that you have in business, know the challenges you have creatively and artistically and personally. And I have hundreds of seminars on my computer, and I can quickly divert to any seminar, really,
sure,
of the past 20-odd years that I've been teaching, to give you extra value. So I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Not only do you do it artfully, but you do it seamlessly, and people don't even know that you're weaving. That's what part of the brilliance is. It just seems all like it's one fluid thought.
No, thank you, mate.
So people are going to really enjoy that. Let me just see here what else I'm missing to hit. I guess the one thing that Fujiko, who invited me to spend this time with you, wanted to hit on was just that Friday night is going to be an inspirational night. Having the Ghionises and the Edmonsons in the same room is something we shouldn't miss. I look forward to the opportunity. I think the thing that, speaking from my side of it, having Dad and myself there along with you and Melissa, is while we share a common bond through photography, I would say our connecting point runs deeper than that.
No doubt.
And so because of that, it will be fun just to be able to be up there, and I'm sure there'll be some riffing that's going on back and forth. But there's a lot of education that we can unpack, and you can call them little nuggets or whatever. But the breadth, I guess, of the topics that we can cover between
Sure.
Dad having done this for 45 plus years, you having done this now going on, you're getting close to 30 years somewhere in there, type thing. Melissa with her expertise both as a photographer and then in business and marketing, and then whatever value I may bring to the conversation, I'm happy to do so. So,
which is a hell of a lot of value. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure you know Luke and David, but Luke did a guest appearance on my training website, Ghionis.com, and we thought, all right, let's come over, let's have some fun, and we were doing some stuff for WPPI, but let's film some episodes for our training site. And we just went on, and I was fascinated myself and glued to the conversation, and I was riveted by how much research that you've done with your dad for the personal projects that you've done, and shown us exactly the history and the legacy of where photography has come from. And we think sometimes we're the first one to do something, and it's been done friggin' 100 years ago. So you certainly, I guess, reinvigorated my perspective on photography, because a lot of these things, probably 70% of the stuff that you've shown, I've heard in different manners when I started, but that was 25 years ago. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I've totally forgotten where this came from. And then you introduced me to artists that I had never heard of before, that have done things way before we've done them. So I can't wait to see how the the natural chemistry that we have, the four of us, will evolve on that evening. So certainly, guys, if you're watching and listening right now, that I think the four of us put together, we might in fact be a genius. We're a quarter of a genius each. So you add us together, I think we would offer the best learning experience, let alone the on-flow that's going to happen the following 2 days.
That's right. And the location is fabulous that we're going to host it at. I believe it's at PCS, their studios. And so it's air conditioned. It's big. There's screens that people can be able to watch on. Plenty of space to be able to do stuff, and it really should be a neat opportunity. And for those that aren't aware about Jerry, you've invented several different lights, reflectors, in addition to your learning school education sites that you have and things like that. So definitely there's innovation within that. I'm sure you'll be showing how you work with some of your own devices, as well as with other forms of lighting that are available and accessible to you. You're an Nikon ambassador. People who have questions about what's going on in the world of mirrorless and things like that certainly will be able to have somebody who's using it day in and day out, firsthand knowledge. And then for those that have never heard this before, and I'm going to butcher it, but you were named one of the top workshop instructors in all the world. And so that just speaks to not only your ability to communicate, but also the value that you bring. And that's what this Little Red Schoolhouse is going to be all about. It's a tremendous learning opportunity and value that people definitely shouldn't miss, whether you're a member of DPPA or not.
Well, yeah, we can't wait. For me, this has been, it's been 5 years into my career. I started teaching, and then I just became obsessed in seeing the light bulb go off in people. And as I've matured, as I said before, but since being with Melissa, once you're with a person that allows love to fluctuate, so my heart, my passion, my soul have just been exploding the last 8-9 years that I've been with Melissa. I can share more of my heart because it has been allowed to fill up everyone else. Does that make any sense? So,
absolutely.
Since then, and then really as I've been teaching things over the years, I just find quicker ways in communicating something. Quicker, faster, more effective, funnier, whatever it may be. But any way that I can for people to retain the information, because see, I don't want people to come away from these two days in an evening just saying, oh, that was really inspirational. I'm like, well, no, there was hundreds of things that I can implement. And here's the thing. You will not remember everything, but you remember it when you make the mistake again.
Yep.
And that's the coolest thing. When you have that challenge again, like that little light bulb will go off. Like, wait a second. Yes, I can play that game that Jerry taught us, or I can say those things, or say it the way Jerry encouraged us, or those challenges that we've made. So, like I said, for us, I've always been a street smart kind of a guy in terms of just let's cut the crap that we don't need to know, and let's get to the heart of it, and let's be more purposeful. So, I guess that I think that if you had to sum up the whole 2 days, it would be how to create more purposeful and meaningful photographs, technically and emotionally. And empathetically, I would say that's the summary of those days. So, like I said, if the last several seminars that I've done have got anything to do with it, I mean, people have had life-changing epiphanies from that second day. And I have a knack of revealing parts of people's personalities in front of so many people, and they just totally forget they're in front of 50 or 100 people, and all of a sudden, like this. So we want to create a very safe place to learn.
Yep.
And if I wear my heart on my sleeve, I really want and expect the same from my audience, and then we can all grow together. We can like I said, we can laugh and cry together, and really, hopefully this will be a turning point for a lot of people coming to the seminar. So I can't wait.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for hopping on, Jerry. I super appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you this August in Dallas.
Can't wait, mate. See you soon.
Cheers.